let's talk some presidential politics. You recently said that a Trump presidency in 2024 would be the end of democracy. Do you get heat then for your criticism of President Biden?
Oh yeah, I get heat from both sides. I got bots from both sides in my mentions. You know, I got Democrat bots and I got MAGA bots. I'll be honest with you, they're a little sloppy now. You know, there used to be a time where they used to be on point, like they would only post under political posts, but I could literally post like a picture of Garfield and it'll say, oh, this is the type of rhetoric that's going to get Donald Trump reelected, or I'll get, oh, you're just a Democratic shill, MAGA 2024. So I get it from both sides.
Yeah. Now, you talk a lot about racial issues on the show, and recent polls suggest that Donald Trump is actually gaining among African Americans. A recent poll showed in the key battleground states, 22% say they'll support Donald Trump. Compare that to the fact that he got 8% of the black vote in 2020 and 6% of the black vote in 2016. You think these numbers are real?
No, I mean, I do think that there will be a bump, but I can't see him getting, 22% of the black vote. And I mean, I think the conversation that, people should be having, it isn't even just about whether somebody's black or whether somebody's white. I think, people are just looking at the state of the country. And I think there's just a lot of issues that people feel like some, candidates are better on, in particular, the economy, in particular, what's going on at the border right now.
So
I don't see him holding. I don't see that holding up in a general election, 22% of the black vote. I don't see that.
And we're talking about the economy. The numbers sound good, right? But a lot of Americans aren't feeling it. And Biden's still way down when compared with Trump when it comes to who would handle the economy better.
Man, the economy impacts every single body, man. And, you look on the news, right? And every news outlet is reporting how amazing the economy is and jobs are being created. But I tell people, until that impact, until it impacts the least of us, until you feel that in the hood or you feel that in rural areas like I'm from in Moncks Corner, South Carolina, it doesn't matter because everything costs more. Like I was reading today how a value meal from McDonald's, the Big Mac combo meal is like $17 in Connecticut. That's insane. So, you can keep saying that the economy is better. You can keep saying that more jobs are being created. But if people aren't feeling it where they actually need it, like I said, in the hood and in those rural areas, it's just going to be a talking point.
On this show, I enjoy having people who disagree with me on the show. I have a lot of debates. I ask a lot of people as the first question, what am I getting wrong? Is there anyone who isn't invited on the Breakfast Club? I mean, I assume you would welcome Donald Trump if he would come on the show, right?
Man, that's an interesting question. I mean, how do you ignore somebody who was a former president? How do you ignore, somebody who's running for president now? Like, how do you do that? Like, would NewsNation ignore him?
No, absolutely not.
CNN doesn't ignore him. MSNBC doesn't ignore him. I mean, like all of these major news outlets don't ignore him. So how could I be a radio personality or a media personality and say I wouldn't do that? I don't think I could ever say I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, no, look, I hear you. Look, we've had Donald Trump on NewsNation. We'd have him on, certainly welcome him. Again, he's going to be the leading Republican candidate. We'd have Joe Biden on. And it's interesting because people do want to kind of fit people into silos, right? And it's interesting when I see, you've appeared on Fox News at times and Fox News Digital, and occasionally Fox News will be sort of celebrating something that you said, and then they'll be ignoring a lot of other stuff that you said.
Yeah, especially in regards to Donald Trump, because, I give it to everybody. I just call it how I see it. When you ask me about a Trump or Biden presidency, the first thing I say is I believe America deserves better. I wish we had more options, but we don't, and, it's being that we don't, this is what we have to deal with. And I recently saw, my man Killer Mike, my good brother Killer Mike, he was on Bill Maher, and I agree with what he said. He said that we need to choose policies over people. And I'm always a person who believes in voting their interests. And my interest will always be the economy and preserving democracy, even though democracy hasn't worked for everyone, especially, people that look like me in this country, the way it should. we still have to preserve what we have, and I believe that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. But, you know, if I say that on Fox, that wouldn't be the headline. It would be more so, you know, something I say negative about President Biden. And by the way, I don't think none of it is negative. It's just, I'm just observing what's going on in our country. I should be able to critique whoever the leader of the free world is, regardless of if I voted for him or not. I should be able to critique him because I'm a tax-paying American citizen.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.